So I was given a little tip from a healer, from a mentor who said, you have to get in the earth. You have to ground yourself, like be in the soil. And I was like, all right. So what I did, I actually had a place here in Austin on the east side. I had a little bungalow with a little camper. So I quit everything. I stopped all the distractions and all the indulgences and the escape. And I just started meditating and started listening to wiser people than me. I started listening to you and other...
That's never a good thing.
It worked to some degree. But you realize there's so many, there's so much information that you can, so much wisdom and education that I hadn't tapped into because I was distracted. And so I was seeking advice from elders and counsel from friends and starting to orient myself with people who I saw as living a life that I think that I might want. Mm-hmm. So I changed my friend group and just started DMing them. And luckily for me, because I'm somewhat famous, people would respond. And anyway, this one woman, she's like, you need to ground yourself and get in the earth. So what I did is I moved into my camper and I lived there for a year. It's a small little 50 square foot camper, whatever it was. And I started building a community garden. And I was just digging in the soil and planting and digging and working, meditating and cooking in an open fire. And I grew a beard. And then the pandemic hit. And I was like, perfect. Like I'm already, solo in isolation. It didn't affect me at all. It didn't change anything. I just kept doing the work. Got really healthy, worked out. And it worked. I mean, the grounding was profound. And that's when I realized that I wanted to change my whole life to be closer to nature. All this environmental activism that I was doing, this legislation and hearts and minds and, consumer behavior, all that stuff that I was doing, UN Environment Ambassador, all that stuff was just so out there. It was like outside of myself. What I wanted to do was just do the work, learn the skills to actually support the earth, like right here, right now. And I realized how much I didn't respect and appreciate what farmers do. And I was like, I want them to make all these changes for the environment, but I don't even understand
what they do,
why they do what they do, and why they would choose one thing over another. So I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm gonna be the one that knows about farming. I'm gonna be the one that knows how to grow food and build a skill so that I can feed myself. I can feed my family, take care of myself and my family.
Mm-hmm. And what was happening on the romantic side during this period?
Utterly alone, sad, lonely. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I cut out porn and no masturbation, so I didn't even have that. I'm sitting there just with myself. Mm-hmm. And and I knew that was a big distraction as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why'd you stick with it?
Well, so there's one time I was, I think I was going to Cannes or something, the Cannes Film Festival, and I hitched a ride on this billionaire's private plane. And he was 80, he was old and gray hair. And he gets on the plane and he has 6 hot young models with him. And my mentality at the time, I was like, damn, this guy's the man. Look at him. He's 80 and he's still got it.
Yep.
And there was just a little voice in my head is like, I hope I can still do that when I'm his age. Mm-hmm. A little voice. And then I realized, Adrian, you do whatever you want. Whatever you say happens. You can manifest shit. You know that you will have that. And it really shuddered me. I was like, holy shit, wait a minute. I don't want that. I realized in that moment, I was like, that's exactly what I don't want. And so I started to rewrite what I actually...
Why did you figure that out?
Are you struggling with back taxes or unfiled returns this year? The IRS is actively escalating collections by adding 20,000 new agents. In these challenging times, your best defense is to use Tax Network USA. Along with hiring thousands of new agents and field officers, the IRS has kicked off 2024 by sending over 5 million pay-up letters to those who have unfiled tax returns or balances owed. These guys are not your friends. Don't waive your rights and speak with these agents independently, without backup. Tax Network USA, a trusted tax relief firm, has saved over $1 billion in back taxes for their clients, and they can help you secure the best deal possible. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, they can help. Whether it's business or personal taxes, whether you have the means to pay or are on a fixed income, Tax Network can help resolve your tax burdens once and for all. Seize control of your financial future now, and don't let tax issues overpower you. Contact Tax Network USA for immediate relief and expert guidance. Call 1-800-245-6000 or visit tnusa.com/Peterson. Turn to Tax Network USA and find your path to financial peace of mind. That's tnusa.com/Peterson.
I mean, you said, your first impression was it's like Hugh Hefner and his blonde chicks going around Europe. I mean, what fun for everyone. I watched that show a couple of times and I thought,
might have been on that episode.
yeah, well, it seemed like a pretty dismal form of hell to me. So,
Yeah.
And, well, why? Well, none of it's real. I guess that's the fundamental issue, is none of it's real. And maybe that's part of that longing that you described for a long-term relationship and for kids.
Yeah, I wrestled with these questions. I was like, what do I really want? Why do I want it? And, pushing up against my impulses, my instincts, the carnal part of me that wanted me to keep doing the same things. But as I started to, you know what it was also? I wanted to protect and take care of. I wanted to be a protector. I didn't want to be the one.
Right, that's a really different role than user.
Yeah. Yeah. And because this is coming off of the inspiration that my ex-girlfriend gave me, which was, take a look at yourself. You've hurt me. And I saw her tears. I saw the pain that I caused her. And when I got over the fact, I was like, you made your choices.
Yeah.
You chose to be with me. I told you who I was.
Right.
When I started to realize that I was not taking care of her and that I was actively hurting her, I didn't want to be that person.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I finally had an awakening,
does she know that all this happened to you in the aftermath of her note?
She does.
Are you still in touch?
We are. Yeah.
Is she married?
She is.
Does she have kids?
She does. We both happen to have a kid with the same name.
Oh. So, okay, so run me up into that. You obviously met someone.
Well, her son is my son. So we ended up getting back together.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh. How long did that take?
It took a long time. It took a long time. So I had to, become a new thing, a new person, and totally change everything. And then I had to convince her that I had changed.
How much age difference is there between you?
17 years.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. And she wasn't happy. I mean, she was like, yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that sort of change. That's a lot of change.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was during the pandemic, and she was in Europe, and I had to pull a lot of strings to get to see her, and she was at arm's length for a long time. And I had to consistently show up as the new me while she's poking and prodding me, and making sure that...
How long did you have to do that?
It was a year and a half. Yeah, and...
So she put you through your paces.
Well, and also I'm not dating anyone. I'm not distracted. I will spare no expense, and I will take as long as it takes for us to heal without any expectation that we're going to, be together. And keep in mind, like I've been celibate for, almost a year or 8 months. And then when we're with her, she's like, okay, well, if you're going to be dating anyone, I don't want to even talk to you. I was like, all right. So I basically had to double down until we, many months later, finally had some breakthroughs. And I wasn't expecting to be back with her, but we fell in love again, anew. We fell in love.
Where were you?
When we fell in love anew?
Yeah.
So this was in Portugal. Yeah, and that was just the beginning of a new romance. And she tested me, and I was struggling still because it hadn't really. It was new. I was like a toddler trying to walk for the first time, And then eventually, she moved to Austin, and then I told her I wanted to buy some land. I wanted to do this life, and I'd been holding off. I'd been waiting to move into land until my partner showed up in my life, and so that we could make that choice together, so that it would be ours, as opposed to the old dynamic was, look, this is my life, and you can enter it, but like I hold all the cards, and it's all my stuff, and you're just, lucky to be here.
Right.
This is now ours, and when she came to Austin, and things just clicked. They started clicking. I was definitely on the right path because everything was just unfolding in such serendipity. We went and found a piece of land. It was beautiful. She fell in love with it. I fell in love with it. And then, now we've been back together for 3.5 years. Got married. We have a kid. And
how old's your child?
Almost 1. 11 months.
What's that been like? You're happy about that?
Yeah.